KWI. I'm glad you're here. We finally got some rain here in Michigan, so I'm not going to be able to ride this weekend, so I figured I would take this time to address a couple things that I just wanted to talk about. Maybe we'll have a drink and just discuss a couple things. The first thing right off the bat, I want to say thank you to every single person who clicks on these videos, who watches them, who comments, who subscribes, who drops a like. We started in February with roughly, I don't know, right around 7 subscribers. And here we are in the beginning of October at almost 550 subscribers. So thank you. I drink to you guys for helping me make this channel so far what it's been. I mean, it hasn't been that long. We've grown pretty quickly, and I hope it's just a start. You know, I hope it's just a start. So thank you. And on that note, I have social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I will post links to those in the description below. They're all public. Feel free to follow me, interact with me off YouTube. I got a couple people that are doing that now. I even met up with a couple people last weekend at the dunes, and a couple weekends before at the trails. I love being social with you guys. You know, I love interacting. So feel free to follow me down below. So the first thing I want to talk about is the X3 itself. So I've had just about a full season behind the wheel now, and I don't know if any of you people watching now watched my original thoughts on X3 and thoughts on Polaris conversation video, where I was kind of talking about the vehicles themselves without actually having a whole lot of seat time. Well, I have quite a bit of seat time now. So I want to give you some feedback, some thoughts on how I think this vehicle performs. And the first thing I want to talk about is the looks. I can't go anywhere. My cousin and me together, every single place we go, we turn heads. People are always pointing, you know, they always want to ask questions, you know, this is the car we heard about, you know, it just looks so much different than everything else out there.
The thing is sweet. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it is an attention grabber. It is a very, very aesthetically pleasing vehicle, in my opinion. Now, granted, everyone's got their own opinion. Please don't blow up on me over anything I say in this video. This is obviously just an opinion, but it's all based on my experience now. Before it was mainly just opinion, and now I've actually kind of got some time behind the wheel to base my opinions on. And I'll tell you, the thing turns heads. You know, when we're in the trails and my cousin's in front of me, we pass people, everyone is doing this. You know, they're all pointing. I don't know what they're saying. They could be saying, you know, that guy's an idiot for driving too fast, which is probably what most of them are saying. It's a good looking car. You know, it really is a good looking car. And obviously, the thing is very quick. It is a very fast machine. I have several videos where you can easily see I'm doing 85 miles an hour through the trails or in the dunes. I'm doing 90 in my 0 to 60 test, 88 miles an hour or whatever. The car is quick, and it gets there very, very quickly. It's a fast car. I have a video where I was my cousin and I, we were hanging up with a fully built pre-runner. Obviously we weren't passing him. Those are in another class, but the point is this is getting very close to that class. Leads me to the suspension. Wow. I have thrown this thing off of massive jumps. Absolutely ripped it down the whoops. A 70 mile an hour flyby. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world on 2-foot whoops going 70 miles an hour, but in terms of comparing it to other vehicles, stock suspension, stock vehicles in its class, it is right up there. It is right up there, if not the absolute best. It is legit. The next like would be the ergonomics of it. The seats are extremely comfortable. The seats are light years beyond what last year's model was. Last year's model was very painful to ride in. These seats I could ride in all day, and I have ridden in them all day. And it's a very comfortable car. And the interior is very, very well laid out. It looks really nice. And moving the engine to the back, allowing the belt changes to be more efficient, man, I'll tell you what. Get yourself one of these impacts and one of these snake extender little deals here. I can literally change that belt in less than 5 minutes. Zim, 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 zim. So if you don't have something like this in the passenger seat glove box, highly, highly, highly recommend you do it. If I had to go down the list of something that I disliked about the car, I can really only come up with 2 things. The first one would be the springs on the suspension. While the suspension itself is very, very good, you can tell that the spring quality is lacking. When I first got the car, and my cousin, he has the same feedback, he has the same experience, it wouldn't bottom out. I could really just hit some stuff and it would not bottom out. It was very, very smooth and soft. And now after, 800 something miles on it, 850 miles, however many I have, and I've raised up the ride height, I'm bottoming out more now than I ever have. You can definitely tell the springs have got slack in them. They don't hold up to aggressive driving, but we'll address that later in the video. But the other dislike I have was the factory ride height. I don't understand why they had the butt of these things so low. They're all like that. Every one of them. They're like sagged down. The ride quality is improved so much by raising it up, 3-4 inches. People that don't know how to raise, or they aren't comfortable raising the ride height, they're going to form their opinion on the suspension based on how it came from the factory. And I don't understand that. So those would be my 2 things that I dislike about the vehicle so far. Next on the list is modifications, things I've done to the vehicle. And what do I think about them? So I have a tune and I have an exhaust. Those are by HMF. The exhaust, I think, looks phenomenal. It sounds awesome. I absolutely love the way it sounds. The tune is relatively moderate. In the beginning, I didn't really understand what the whole stages meant. I just kind of figured if you only offered one, that meant it was a stage 1. But I know that companies like Evo, every little change they make, they call it a new stage. So I suppose comparatively, if you were to compare this tune to Evo, this would be like a stage 3 because it's a full exhaust as well as a tune. But I think their stage 3 is like 18 pounds of boost and HMF is 15 pounds of boost. And I've ran with other guys that have Evo tunes and I can keep up with them. I've also got the HMF front gusset kit. I have no idea if that helped. I'm assuming it did. My cousin, he has gone over all the same jumps I have, save for a few. And his front end's fine. He does have a little bit of chipping where it looks like the front shock tower brace may be under a little bit of duress. I don't. If you're going to drive the car hard, a front gusset kit is a no-brainer. It's not going to hurt. And if my wife is watching this, I can't remember exactly what she told me. Apparently gusset has something to do with female clothing. It's the piece between the front and back parts of female underwear. So she was laughing at that. I don't know, why do they call it a gusset? I'm really glad to see that the 2018 X3 RS versions are coming with the 4-point harness because it is, you gotta have them, Just so much bad can happen when you have a car this fast, and that has this much capability. You've gotta have the 4-point harness. So if you don't have 4-point harness in your car, you should probably invest in them. And one of the next mods I've done is a true must for anybody who tunes their vehicles. Clutching work. I've had my clutches worked on by KWI Clutching, owned by Chris Worth. Without getting into too much detail on how CVT clutches work, spring related, weight related. You spin things harder, faster, the springs and the weights respond differently. So with that in mind, when you tune a car, things respond differently. The RPMs rest in different places. And if you look at a dyno graph, most of the time they go up, they have a peak, and then they kind of start coming down. Well, the RPMs, you want them to sit right at that peak. And if they're not sitting at that peak, if they're sitting above it, that's lost horsepower. That's lost torque, that's lost performance. So you want to get your clutches done. You've just got it. He also offers a float mod for the secondary with a realignment, some machine work. I got my clutches done because I blew a belt at 180 miles. I had 180 miles on it, snapped the belt. Immediately after that, I had him work on my clutches. I have not blown a belt since. And you see how I drive. You can go look at my videos. When they say no lift, that's me. I've got my foot through the firewall at all times. And I still haven't blown a belt. I did change the belt just recently because I had 700 miles on that belt. And I was just curious. I thought, I was like, there's no way that this belt could still be in good shape. Considering how I was driving, I'm going to go ahead and put my spare on. Here, let's take a look at it. So this is the belt I took off, the one that has 700 miles on it. I don't know if the camera is going to show, but I mean, it looks new. I probably could have left it on for another 700 miles. There's no splintering, there's no fracturing, there's no goofy lines anywhere. It's still in good shape. So this is now my new spare. I think that those clutches, having them worked on, was absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. If for nothing else, if you don't care about the performance, if for nothing else, just belt life. Because blowing belts suck, especially when they blow up the housing. So if you can get more belt life, then sign me up. And I signed up, and I'm extremely happy. The next thing I want to talk about, the entire side-by-side industry in general. Wow, what an amazing time to be into off-roading with a side-by-side. You just had the 2018 Can-Am release where they had the XRC and then the 50-inch trail version. Whether or not you like Can-Am, or whether or not you like the new cars they released, you got to give them props, right? Because they're listening. In 2016, people complained about the handling, the suspension, the ride quality of their performance car. They redesigned it, made it way better. And then people started complaining about not having a front locking diff. That was like the #1 complaint. So what did Can-Am do? They released one with a fully locking front diff. Then people started to talk about, oh, that car is just too wide. You're never going to be able to drive it in the trails. It's unpractical. And they release a trail side by side. I think it's goofy looking, but they listened and they produced a machine for those people who ride narrow trails. On top of that, if you were a 2017 owner, they didn't forget about you. They offer the performance upgrade kit without having to worry about trading in your vehicle for the next model. You can just go ahead and upgrade it. They listen. That's awesome. That's awesome. And then you just had the 2018 Polaris release. I think it was a little lackluster, because when the X3 came out, everybody was saying, oh, just wait till what Polaris releases. Just wait till what Polaris releases. They're cooking up something crazy. Not crazy, but that suspension that they released is actually very cool. People might want to knock on it and rag on it. An industry-changing thing. The X3 was industry-changing in general. Those shocks, that suspension on that car is industry-changing. And the point that I'm really driving at is there's competition now. Now Can-Am shows up with an actual competitor. Polaris is being pushed to innovate. Can-Am is being pushed to innovate. You saw Polaris respond by dropping their prices like $2,000 on their top model. The industry is awesome right now. You know, there's so much competition and things are advancing so fast. These cars are getting so close to being pre-runners, you know, something that's next class. It's awesome, you know. If you're thinking about getting into the off-road scene, I'm telling you, you can't go wrong with either of the two cars, the top leader cars, because they're moving so quickly. You know, it is a really, really fun time to be a side-by-side enthusiast. What's next for me? What's next for this channel? What's next for the side-by-side, the X3? We're not done modding, so we have some things planned for over the winter time. The big one is going to be shock therapy. I'm definitely going all in on that shock therapy, and I will be doing a full build, a full vlog on it. I'm going to try and do all the work myself. Probably sometime in February, we'll be stripping the shocks off the car. We'll be sending them over to them, and I'm going to record the whole experience. We're going to go ahead and beef up the suspension because I've seen a lot of really awesome stuff done by shock therapy, and we're gonna do that. I've already purchased the performance upgrade kit. I'm going to be doing that work myself as well. I'll vlog it. I will put the whole thing up, my whole experience with it. Really the only thing I'm waiting for now is for HMF to come out with their tune for the 2018. So when they come out with that, I'll get my ECU reflashed. I'm probably going to have to go back to KWI Clutching for some new weights and springs for the additional power. So you'll want to stay tuned and watch for that. I think I'm going to get his kit that he has where you can work on your own clutch. He's got all the tools and stuff. I might ask him for some instructions on how to do the things that I need to do to it. I'll vlog it all. I'll make videos. It will hopefully be helpful for anybody else who's thinking about doing that. And for the channel itself, man, I'm just getting started. I've really enjoyed making these videos. I've enjoyed interacting with you guys. I've enjoyed the commentary. I've enjoyed the whole experience, you know, and I feel like I'm getting better at it. You know, you guys have been commenting that my editing quality is getting better. I feel like I'm getting more creative. I'm just having a really good time. So throughout the winter time, I'm still going to ride. I've got some ideas for some winter rides coming up, as well as scripted rides, little scenes. I've got a really cool idea coming up for Halloween. I've got one for Thanksgiving, and I've got one for Christmas and New Year's, where they're more than just riding. They're more like I guess a production. You know, like they're just going to be really fun and cool editing, and just out of the ordinary type things. So you'll want to stick around for that. I am going to continue to invest in the channel with cameras and other equipment to help me make the most of the rides. And the big one for next year is going to be a drone. I'm going to have a drone. I gotta have one that follows me around. We'll expand the image library to some aerial shots. It'll be a good time. And I want this channel to be more than just an X3 channel. I know it's Aaron Shea X3. I'm Aaron Shea. I have an X3. But, you know, I'm an off-road enthusiast. So I'm thinking next year I might try to organize some group rides where we, you know, the viewers from the area or even just within proximity, you know, we'll get together, we'll go to the dunes or we'll pick a trail, and we'll all go riding together. I think that would be awesome. A lot of events that go on around here. You know, Silver Lake has tons of events. Veterans Day where they give rides to people. They've got the side-by-side festival that I couldn't make it to this year. There's lots of stuff going on. I'm going to try and be a part of more of those events and film the events. You know, more than just me riding, but expanding what's going on in the off-road industry in my area. Just trying to give you guys a variety of content. As well as, you know, some like question and answer things. You know, like, I mean, if you guys have questions, feel free to post them down below or send me a message and I'll maybe do a Q&A video. They don't have to just be about off-road stuff, just post a question. I mean, we can make them fun, make them funny, I don't care. I'll answer your stupid questions. maybe you'll get a good time with it, right? Again, I just want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch these videos, for interacting with me. I look forward to what's to come. So hit that subscribe button, give me a like, and let's see what's next.